money.
Smog.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The problem with the withdrawal agreement is that it doesn't do what the Conservative Party said we would do. In our manifesto, said we would leave the customs union, but Annex 2 under the backstop would keep us in the customs union. We have had endless guarantees that the United Kingdom would not be divided. But the whole appendix divides Northern Ireland from the rest of Great Britain, something that unionists are opposed to in principle, not just as the details of a treaty, but because it seeks to divide our country. The Conservatives and those who campaigned for Brexit always said that we must be free from the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice. Why? Why? Because the court is a political court as well as a legal court. And because, Mr. Speaker, something that I know you think is very important, it could overrule this House and overrule our democracy and make laws for us that could not be stopped by Parliament, unless, of course, we withdrew altogether, which is what we are doing with the purpose of taking away its authority to rule over us. And for this, for the potential of being locked in a customs union, for dividing our nation up, and for allowing the European Court of Justice to continue, we are going to pay our European friends £39 billion of taxpayers' money. For that we get nothing in return, no guarantee of any trade deal in future, but a vacuous political statement that could mean anything to anybody. And in the detail of this treaty and its failures, and its inability to deliver the Brexit that people voted for, perhaps we forget the economic benefits that come from making decisions for yourselves. We know in our own lives that the decisions we make for ourselves are likely to be better than those made for us by other people. But that is true as a nation as well, because any decision made in this House is accountable to the British people. And the aim for us as politicians on all parties is to see the standard of living of the British people improve generation after generation, as my honourable friend, the member for Bournemouth, was saying in his speech. That is something we seek to do. In the Conservative Party, it was one of the founding principles that Disraeli followed, the condition of the people question. And the advantage of leaving the European Union is that we can once again make these decisions for ourselves, that we can have a trade system that opens us up to the world rather than being the fortress that the European Union has created to try and maintain its standard against the winds that blow from the rest of the world, that have made the rest of the world grow so much faster than Europe has managed in recent times. A Europe that is mired in recession and economic failure.
Would he allow me?
Of course I'll give.
Well, I'm very grateful to my honourable friend. Can I just reassure him that I think if he took just a minute longer, he might just persuade me to join him in the lobbies?
Well, I'm delighted to hear that, because I think there will be a cascade of people going into the lobbies against this bad deal, because it denies us the opportunities that will make Brexit a success. It takes us further away from that ability to open up our economy to the benefits of free trade, to the benefits that will allow the prices of food and clothing, of footwear to be reduced, increasing the standard of living, most particularly of the least well-off in society. Whereas instead we are tied into a protectionist racket that keeps prices high and makes our economy less efficient, that means that the rest of the world is overtaking us and the whole of Europe because it becomes less competitive as it seeks an outmoded, anti-competitive system, thinking that it can simply protect itself. And this withdrawal agreement, with no end in sight to the backstop, a backstop that could go on for generations. How long did the backstop turn out to be for Norway when they voted not to join before they got a fully fledged deal of their own? Mr. Speaker, over 20 years. So temporary in European terms is something that for most of us is a generation. Temporary in parliamentary terms is, of course, even longer, as we remember with the 1911 Parliament Act and the Liberal promise, never delivered on, to abolish the income tax. Yeah. Typical of the Liberals, as you might say, Mr. Speaker. And we risk denying ourselves these extraordinary opportunities, and in doing so, taking ourselves away from the electorate who we promised to deliver on Brexit for. And ultimately, whatever we think, surely we owe it to our voters to deliver, because otherwise, why should they ever trust us again?
Yeah.